Good morning, Pastor Brian here. Thank you for joining me today as we read a chapter a day through the book of Psalms. Today is Psalm 32. As always, I'll be reading from the Common English Bible. And as I'm looking at Psalm 32, and it's got that little subtitle, it has the phrase, a maskil of David. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. And my notes say that it could perhaps be translated as instruction, and that it appears in looks like maybe about a dozen other psalms throughout the book. So just wanted to throw that out there as maybe a helpful tidbit of information. And so it kind of gives us an idea of what this psalm is about. So let's read Psalm 32. The one whose wrongdoing is forgiven, whose sin is covered over, is truly happy. The one the Lord doesn't consider guilty, in whose spirit there is no dishonesty, that one is truly happy. When I kept quiet, my bones wore out. I was groaning all day long, every day, every night, because your hand was heavy upon me. My energy was sapped as if in a summer drought. So I admitted my sin to you. I didn't conceal my guilt. I'll confess my sins to the Lord, is what I said. Then you removed the guilt of my sin. That's why all the faithful should pray to you during troubled times, so that a great flood of water won't reach them. You are my secret hideout. You protect me from trouble. You surround me with songs of rescue. I will instruct you and teach you about the direction you should go. I'll advise you and keep my eye on you. Don't be like some senseless horse or mule whose movement must be controlled with a bit and a bridle. Don't be anything like that. The pain of the wicked is severe, but faithful love surrounds the one who trusts the Lord. You who are righteous, rejoice in the Lord and be glad. All you whose hearts are right, sing out in joy. That's the end of Psalm 32. What did you like about the psalm? What didn't you like? Or what just stuck out to you and, just was the part that you really kind of clung on to? Find out, think about it, and dig a little deeper if you need to. One of the other things I also wanted to point out, I believe this happened once before, and so if I know we didn't cover it, so I apologize. But throughout the Psalms, there is this word Selah, and if you've got your some notes in your Bible, hopefully it shares that information with you. But because many of the Psalms were sung and continue to be sung, both in Jewish and Christian traditions, the Selah, the note in my Bible says, is a musical direction of uncertain meaning found in the Psalms. So there's no real understanding of what the literal definition could be as we could apply it today, but it was some kind of direction for when it was played as music. And so that is not, and that's why it's maybe not in a print Bible as I'm looking on my screen here, but mine, the word Salah is put in a different color and it's placed in a very specific spot, so it looks kind of out of place, and that's done so that you don't hopefully don't think that that's part of the actual text, the words that should be read. So it's kind of like a footnote or a musical direction. So it's not something that we would read. And that kind of reminds me of the musical Annie, if you've ever seen that. And Daddy Warbucks is reading an ad on the radio, and he reads the notes, and it says end drop page, and he throws the page on the ground, but he actually reads it instead of just knowing that that is a cue for him to go to the next page. So same kind of thing. Selah is a cue, and it's not meant to be actually read as a part of the psalm. One of the things that I like about this psalm, getting into the actual text of the psalm today. Lots of little tidbits of information, surrounding the psalm, but let's finally dig into what the psalm actually says. And I think it is, a maskil. It does have some instruction. It almost reads, some psalms are wisdom text, and this one actually seems like wisdom literature. At the very beginning, the one whose wrongdoing is forgiven, whose sin is covered over, is truly happy. So it talks about wisdom, and then it talks about, people who, when you are worn out, that you should rely on God, admitting our sin to God, not concealing anything from God, but just laying it all out there. And David says, the psalmist says very clearly that once that was out there, how much better he felt. You remove the guilt of my sin, after he says, I'll confess my sins to the Lord. And I know I've talked a lot about this with people in both groups and individually, but it's not that God doesn't know what we've done, but for us to have the trust and the faith and the relationship in God, to let God know that we know God knows, and that we want God to know, and we want to just give it up and let it out and hand it over to God. I think that is an incredible moment in our relationship, and one that we should keep doing from time to time, from day to day. Martin Luther constantly went to the confession box and would run back to the confession box if he ever forgot something, so much so that the people in the confession box would get frustrated with him that he just continued to confess. But just that idea that, give those things up and give them over to God. Don't hold on to them. Don't let them eat at you and eat away at your life. Instead, hand them over to God. Know that God forgives them, and that you can then start working to a place in which you no longer feel that guilt of sin hovering over your life, and maybe doing more than just hovering. So that's what I thought. That's what I liked. That is what really kind of hit me today. Again, what hit you? What struck you? Write it down. Share it with a friend. Share it with us. Stay safe. Take care of yourselves. God bless. And I hope you can join us tomorrow.